So, you're posting your content on TikTok endlessly, watching so many other artists blow up on the platform, and yet your content is getting crickets. So what exactly are you doing wrong? There is a strong chance you're actually simply just not capturing the right person's attention in your content. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how to fix that. How to create hooks in your content that actually grab the right people's attention, make them stop scrolling and connect with your music, because mastering hooks truly changes everything in your content. When you learn how to master hooks, not only will content creation become so much easier, but you'll also start seeing real results. Mastering hooks has helped my content, my music, reach millions of views on TikTok, which has subsequently drove millions of streams to our music on Spotify. In fact, I'm recording this just 9 days after releasing my recent single, and that song has been listened to 150,000 times in 9 days. A majority of those listeners have come from TikTok after our very hyper-targeted content strategy reached the right audience and caught their attention. But before we dive into how you can master hooks and grow your content, if you're here because you want to see real change on social media and finally begin growing an audience of your dreams after years of struggling, click the link in the description titled Artist Consultation so you and I can talk about creating a customized plan for your music promotion, and for your social media strategy, so that you're not just posting randomly anymore, but instead you're posting with real intention to reach the right audience. All right, before we go any deeper, let's define what a hook actually is for those who do not know. A hook is simply the way you capture someone's attention in your content instantly when they come across your video. It's the first thing a new viewer sees or hears that captures their attention and disrupts their scroll, meaning it gets them to stop scrolling and choose to watch your video. However, that's if the hook is successful. If it's unsuccessful, then they'll just keep scrolling, they'll swipe away. The hook's objective is to disrupt the scroll for the viewer. So when you create short form content, you want to make this your main objective at the start of your video. A good way to describe why hooks are so important is actually by using this YouTube video that you're watching right now. You most likely clicked on this video because both the title of the video and the thumbnail of the video caught your attention. And so, because this topic resonated with you, you made the decision to click the video and watch it. However, short form content doesn't have a title and doesn't have a thumbnail. It simply pops up in front of the viewer on their feed. The viewer doesn't make a decision about whether or not they want to watch the video, they want to click the video. They instead make a decision about whether or not they're going to remain watching or swipe away. Your first job as a content creator is to encourage them to make the decision to stay and watch the video instead of swiping away. Crafting a good hook is the secret to achieving that. Now, there are actually 3 different components that comprise your hook. Or in other words, there are 3 different styles of hooks you can integrate into your short form videos. First, there is your verbal hook. This is the first thing you say out loud in the video. It's the words you choose that you speak. And you want those words to immediately spark curiosity, spark emotion, spark connection, to inspire the right audience to stop scrolling and watch based on what they're hearing. Now, because you're a musician, this isn't always going to apply to your content, because some of your content, if not majority of your content, consists of performing your songs. And so the song itself and where you choose the part of the song is going to be the audible portion of that hook. And although you can begin a performance video with a spoken hook, it doesn't always work out so seamlessly. Second, there's your written hook. This is the on-screen text that you place at the beginning of your video. It's the part the viewer can read, even with the sound off. When they're scrolling, it's the text that pops up right in front of them. And the sound being off is actually an important thing to consider, because sometimes people are on social media, they're scrolling in public. Either their volume is low or their volume is off, so you want to consider what that experience might be. But either way, on-screen text captures their eyeballs, while either your spoken hook or your music captures their earballs. The on-screen text hook lets the viewer know what the video is all about, and if successful, why they should continue watching until the end of the video. And thirdly, there is your visual hook. Now, although on-screen text is visual, that is not what I mean when I say visual hook. Your visual hook is the start of your actual visual of the video and describes whether or not the video itself captures attention and disrupts the scroll at the start of the video itself. Usually, we want to include some movement in the video at the start because this is more times than not going to help disrupt the scroll from the viewer and catch their attention. This is why creators shake their phone at the start of the video. And you can do this while you're filming, like if you're shaking your phone, but you can also integrate that movement into any post-editing, like if you're adding any keyframe editing tools. TikTok actually has a great keyframe editing option in their app natively, just keep that in mind. All three of those hooks, your verbal, your written, and your visual hooks, they work together to answer the same question for the viewer. Is this video worth stopping for and watching? And you can compile the three different styles of hooks into one video, but you don't have to. It's always best to choose what is best for an individual video or a song, but as a good rule of thumb, it is good to consider that the more hook styles you add into a video, the more likely it is going to grab the attention of the viewer. Okay, now that you understand what a hook actually is, and the different components you can integrate into your content, let's talk about how to actually use them to grow your page. If you're trying to grow your TikTok or really any short form social media platform, especially at the start of your journey, then your content's main objective needs to be reaching new people because you want to grow, you want to build awareness. And that's because not many people know who you are just yet. So when you're crafting hooks, you want to consider this. That means you want to make it about the viewer more than it is about you, because people, they don't know who you are yet. So if all of your hooks say I, me, it doesn't give a stranger any opportunity to see themselves in your content, and they don't know who you are yet, so they just scroll away. So you want your content to present itself as if it's about them in some way while also capturing your story. You can only truly do this at its highest level when you have a very clear understanding of your story as an artist and when you know exactly who you are targeting in your content strategy. In other words, who your ideal fan is. A lot of musicians will create music and think, if it's good, and people will listen to it. But in reality, an independent artist's job when they don't have an established audience is to market your music well enough that it actually reaches people, that it has a system set up to reach people. Because it's not all about if your music is good or bad, but instead it's about if people are actually hearing it to discern if it's good or bad. So you want your content to have direction. You want your content to have a strategy so that can actually reach those most ideal viewers. Those ideal listeners will begin engaging with both your content and your music, and that will allow the algorithms of social media and Spotify to blast your music out to new people. So you actually have to know who you're targeting so that the algorithms can support you. Now, this is actually the first two things that we do inside my artist coaching program. We develop a super deep resonance story for your artistry, for your music and your content, so you know exactly how to show up on social media. And we also identify who the ideal fan is that is going to get the most value from all of that so that you know who your content is made for. If you want to learn more about that and how I can support you in developing that, you can click the link in the description titled Artist Consultation. Anyway, back to hooks. Like I said, right now you are trying to reach new people, and ideally the right fan of your music. But because no one knows who you are yet, you want your hooks to be tapered to the ideal viewer. You can do this in two ways. One, by targeting their identity in your hooks. Your hooks can incorporate surface touch points of the person's identity, the community they are a part of, demographic identifiers, or anything that speaks to their identity. For instance, in this video, which has historically performed well for my band, I write on screen, calling all gays, theys, she's, and fays. This is a witty, somewhat humorous way to call in my ideal audience using their identifiers. Another way we can navigate this is by two, targeting their interests. When you know your fan, you know what they care about. You know where their interests lie and what consumes them and entertains them and what they spend their time doing. Of course, this is also going to apply to your music and the world that you're building as an artist. When you talk about their interests, it's where it meets your interests as an artist. For instance, my band is very inspired by mythology, fantasy fiction, and Renaissance art, and naturally our fans love to read fantasy stories, play open world RPG games, and attend things like the Renaissance Fair. So I know they're engaging with content about those particular topics on social media when they're engaging with their interests. So I can then artfully integrate those interests into the hooks in my videos so that it captures their attention. So they can ground themselves in my world even though they don't know who I am yet. For instance, in this video, I wrote as an on-screen hook, summoning all the book talk girlies into our ethereal fantasy. Using this verbiage, I am able to position my music to the book talk community for fans of the fantasy genre. And as you can see, this video performed incredibly for us and resonated with so many people because it genuinely addressed our ideal fan and our authentic creative vantage point. You always want these touch points to feel aligned with you and your artistry. And you also want to understand your fan so that you can meet them where they're at. When you create hooks that speak to someone's identity or interests, you give them an easy, instant reason to stop scrolling because you're speaking a language they already understand. And once you have their attention and start building real reputation with your audience, then you can go even deeper. Now that we have talked about surface touch points to grab new attention, let's talk about how to go even deeper in your hooks. This is where psychological hooks come into play. This isn't about those surface identity or interests anymore. This is about reaching straight into someone's human experience, straight into their emotions, their pain points, and their inner world. And again, if we understand our fan, then we can understand that at a higher level. In order to create psychological hooks, you have to understand the true value that your music offers your fan as well. This isn't just about what resonates with your fan. This is where the rubber of your fan meets the road of your music and the value that your music offers them. You have to understand the energy, the emotion, and the impact of your songs overall, the legacy that you are building, the feelings people associate with you, the reputation that you create through your particular sound. That is the value that you're offering your listener. And when you can understand that, you can channel all of that into the words and into the ideas that you use to craft your hooks. Here's the simplest way to think about it. Your fans' problem exists when they are devoid of the value that your music offers. And your music is the solution to that emotional gap. And the psychological hook's job is to present your music as the solution to their problem. This isn't just about presenting a cool song. This is about tapping into the deep, guttural reasons why someone would need your music in their life, truly need it. When you tap into that, you're not just promoting a song, you are facilitating an emotional experience for your listener. You're helping your audience access an emotional frequency that they deeply crave because they're missing something in their life that your music provides them. Now, to really bring this to life, let's walk through an example using my own band. In my band, our desired impact, our legacy, is to inspire people who have lived off the beaten path experiences, people who have struggled to believe in themselves, people whose confidence was shaken along the way for one reason or another. Through our music, we want to reinvigorate that inspiration. We want to help people return to themselves, to remember their own magic. When our ideal fan is devoid of the value our music offers, they're disconnected from that inner power, from their personal power. And our music then becomes the bridge that brings them back into that power. It inspires them into that place. So if I was crafting a psychological hook for a piece of content, I wouldn't just say, here's our new song, because that's not grabbing anything psychologically. I would maybe say, if you forgot how powerful you are, this song is your reminder. Or, if the world ever tried to shrink your dreams, this song is for you. Notice, the hook isn't about me, it isn't about my band, it's about them. It's about their emotional experience and the gap that they're feeling, and subsequently the value that I can offer to fill in that gap. When you're just starting out, those surface level hooks, the identity points, the interest-based hooks that we were talking about, are really powerful tools to get your foot in the door. They help you grab people's attention when they don't know who you are. They help you reach new people. They help you really start building that first wave of activity and engagement. But as you begin to grow, as you start building real reputation with your engaged listeners, that's when you want to layer in those psychological hooks. Surface gets them through the door, but depth is what makes them stay because they understand your perspective. By integrating both styles of these hooks across time, you create a three-dimensional strategy that truly builds real community, real loyalty, and real legacy. But if you are ready to take this work even deeper than what we've spoken about here in this video, if you want real support in excavating your story, identifying your deepest value, and learning really how to artfully connect with your audience through the art of hooks and the art of content creation, then click the link in the description titled Artist Consultation. We will talk about building a strategy that doesn't just grow your page, but helps you build real legacy, real community, and a long-lasting connection with your fans. If you found this video helpful, please make sure to click that like button, that subscribe button, and turn on your bell notification so that you do not miss any of our weekly uploads here. And if you have had any breakthroughs or have any questions after watching this video, please drop them in the comments. I would love to hear more about your journey and how you are really piecing together the information that we are talking through in these videos. Remember, you're not just here as an artist to post content, you're here to build something impactful, meaningful, and real. And every step you take toward that matters. So watching this video today means a lot. Thank you so much for being here to grow, to learn. I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.